Hello students. Yesterday we have discussed the important questions, and also we have just revised the chapter mechanical properties of solid, and there in revisions I have just taken some of the questions that are important. So basically stress and strain we have discussed there, and Hooke's experiment, that is very important experiment that we have discussed, and with the help of Hooke's experiment how to define elastic constraints. There we have discussed one of the elastic constant, that is Young's modulus. So let's first of all let's see the rest of the elastic constraints. So in the chapter only these things we have, and based on these things we have a number of numericals. And one more thing that is really very important here, that strain stress curve in any wire, means whenever we are just starting to elongate some wire on the application of some of the deforming force, then what will be the effect on the wire. So it's starting, as we see that when we stress the wire is started to elongate and ultimately it breaks down. So how the curve we will get and what the points on the curve they are representing. So we will discuss that. That is really also very important thing here. So only 33 things are here that we have to discuss. So as Young modulus case we have discussed, means elasticity property arises whenever there is change in configuration occur, you know that. And also change in configurations can be done in three ways basically, that is change in length, change in volume, and change in shape. So whenever there is change in length occur, then that time the stress that is produced, that is normal stress, means due to the application of normal force there can be change in length. Secondary change thing here. So secondary factor is that here that is whenever there is change in length occur, then there is the stress, that is normal stress. And also when change in length occur, it means that if you want to see what is the fraction of the length that is changed, then that is known as strain there, and we call that strain longitudinal strain. So sorry guys, actually light is turned off for some times. So now as we have two one things, normal stress and longitudinal stress, then the ratio of stress and strain, that is known as the elastic constant or modulus of elasticity, or that we know that. So the first types of elasticity, that is Young's modulus of elasticity, that is the ratio of normal stress to the longitudinal strain, that we have discussed. Secondary thing is whenever suppose we are applying normal force from all the directions, like if we have something like this spherical thing, and here is the application of force from all the directions on this body, then that time obviously if this application of force is normal and this is uniform, then change in volume occur in this system. So its volume will be changed somewhat, and suppose that there is the change in volume that occurs, that is overall delta V, and this is the new volume that is becomes here, and also this is the original volume of this whole things here. So and this was V is the new volume here, and we are applying F is just a normal force to change its volume. Then we know that whenever such types of forces are just working here, then stress that is acting, that is also normal stress, but still you can just categorize that in the form of hydraulic stress or volumetric stress. So in case of hydraulic stress, means whenever we will put such types of body into water or in any liquid, then liquid just started to apply some of the force, means the deforming force that is acting on the system, that is due to liquid there. So you can call it hydraulic stress or also you can simply call it volumetric stress or normal stress. So first here stress that is applying, that is normal stress, and also the strain that is produced here, that is the change in volume occur. So strain that is defined as, you know, change in configuration to the original configuration. So if we want to calculate what will be the stress here, so that stress is, we have normal stress and its value is force unit area. So this is basically restoring force per unit area, but still here we are talking about within elastic limit. One word for Hooke's law that is important. We are just calculating all the elastic constant within elastic limit. Means within elastic limit sense is that when we just remove the reforming force, body can regain its original shape and size or original configuration again. So that time we can call that body is in within elastic limit. Its elastic property is retained there. It is not going to be plastic. So in this way you can also call it deforming force per unit area. This is the normal stress we have. And now the strain produced here, that is due to the change in its volume. So we can call it, this is volume strain. So this volume strain is given by change in configuration to the original configuration. So if change in configuration, we will see that is change in volume or this dB upon original volume. And also in this case we are seeing that volume is decreasing, then you can just put here negative sign for this strain. And now we know that when we take the ratio of stress to strain, then elastic constant that we will get. So here the elastic constant that will get by the ratio of this normal stress to the volumetric strain, that is the bulk modulus of elasticity. So this is known as bulk modulus of elasticity. It is equal to normal stress to the volume strain here, and you can just write it by F by A upon delta V upon V. And also we know that if force is applied from all the direction per unit area, then we can call it pressure. So you can also write in place of this P upon delta V by V or PV upon delta V. So we can calculate bulk modulus of elasticity easily by this formula or by this formula for any of the material. Now next thing is that friends, a Young's modulus of elasticity we get only in solids, as there we are talking about the change in length. So we can get change in length when body will have some certain shape and size, and you know that only solids have certain definite shape so that we can elongate its length. A liquid is just taking the shape of the vessel in which it is contained. So there cannot be change in its length, but still we can change its volume there. So there can be change in volume, but there cannot be change in its just length. So Young's modulus of elasticity occurs only in solids, but bulk modulus of elasticity can be occurred in solid, liquid and gaseous system. So this types of systems we are getting in all three types of phases that we have. Next types of elasticity that we have when the force that we are applying, that is tangential, means to change the shape of the system. So this topic is not actually contained here. So but still the elastic constant can be asked also. So next thing is that whenever there is change in shape occurs, suppose that we have some body of the shape, square shape we have, and now we just started to apply some of the tangential force on it. Then due to the application of this tangential force, obviously, and if this end is fixed, then this end is started to elongate. Obviously, if this is, suppose that this is a length and we are applying a normal force to this length, then due to change in its length or due to this normal force, obviously length will change. So if you will see only this side, then for this side this is there is a change in length that will occur. So suppose that some of the length that will change here, this is, and this is the just such types of system we will get after this. So it means that the change in length means here the whole of the shape of the body that we are getting now, that is changed, means from a square we are getting now parallelogram here. So shape is distorted, shape is changed due to the application of tangential or this shearing force here. And you can calculate how the shape is changed by this angle theta or simply by measurement of this theta here. So I think now that is clear, we have understood this already. So this force per unit area, that is known as here tangential stress, and if there is change in shape occur, then change in configuration to the original configuration, that is called strain, and here that strain is defined as shearing strain or tangential strain. So the ratio of shearing stress to the shearing strain, or in another word to the tangential ratio of tangential stress to the tangential strain, is known as new types of elasticity, that is called modulus of rigidity. Means how rigid the body is, means if we are applying, suppose this is the body, that is a rigid body, if we are applying a force on this, its shape is not distorting. So if modulus of rigidity for any material that is greater, it means that we cannot distort its shape easily. We have to apply a lot of force to distort that shape. So that's why these types of knowledge helps us to just in making or the daily source that we are using, like if we are making girders, we are just constructing bridges and so many things where they are using such types of rigid body, how many weights it can carry, or the maximum limit of the weight so that it cannot be deformed. So such types of applications of this knowledge of the elastic constraints there. Means if suppose that we are using some of the supporting material for our building, then that time if its modulus of rigidity is not very good, it's very small, then obviously in that case if some of the forces will be applied, or suppose that on roof we have just put some of the weight, then due to that weight obviously its shape will be distorted and our home means our building can fall down, or whatever some of the things can be there. So that's why this knowledge helps us to prevent such types of accidents, and also this knowledge helps us to just construct a suitable building, strong that buildings for us, and so many places that we are using it. So this is the third type of elasticity that here. So basically we have just seen these things that is important here. Next thing that is important, stress strain curve for a wire. That is very important question for long answers questions. It is important. So suppose that we are taking a wire and we are just started to apply some force on it. Then it means that we are just applying stress on it, and according to that stress we are seeing the strain produced in the system. So suppose in this we are taking strain, and on this we are taking a stress here. So if we have just taken stress here, strain here, now we just apply, started to apply stress on that wire, means force per unit area we are applying, or simple you can say that we are just trying to extend it. So when we are trying to extend, first of all the stress is directly proportional to the strain that is produced in the system, and if means this follows the Hooke's law strictly there. So and suppose that from this point is O, this point is A. So from O to A, if wire is just reached, means elongated, and some of the strain is produced in the wire, and if we just remove here the deforming force or the stress that we are getting, if we will just remove it, then on the removal of this deforming force, wire will again regain its original shape and size. Now again we are just starting to just increase this stress, and here suppose this is the point B we have, and now if at this point B we are just removing the stress again, then we are seeing that this wire follows the curve like this instead of the curve this OA. It means that after a certain limit body starts to get some of the deformation. Here we are seeing that permanently body got some of the strain here, means its length is extended somewhat when we just applied this kind of stress on that system. So it means that every system, every wire, everything that can bear or that can retain its property of elasticity up to a certain limit of deforming force. Means continually if we are increasing the deforming force, the body will start to get some of the deformation and ultimately it will be deformed. So if we want to make some of the seats or some things, then that time we are first of all we have to we should have the knowledge of about its elasticity. Means what is the elastic constraint of that, and what is the means how much it is elastic. So to make the seats, that material are better for us, which can have lower elasticity, so that we can just make the seat with the help of it. Means we just want to deform its shape there. So if modulus of elasticity is lower for that, then that time we can easily distort its shape by the application of some of the forces there. So this curve helps us to understand that properties. Later I will discuss here the classification of material based on that. That is also important. So now again we are just applying to stress here. Then we have just seen that such types of curve this is followed. When this wire is followed such types of curve, this is known as a stress strain curve in this wire. Means continually now if we will see here, this is the point, suppose that C. So in this curve, if we are applying only small stress or no of the stress, but still the body started to get deformation, and obviously you are seeing that after this point B, if no of the stress is applied, then for that time also body get a lot of strain here. Means body started to get the plastic behavior. So within this limit, without any stress, body can be strained. So we are using basically that limit to make the plastic seeds or to make any deformation in the system. Because during this, if we will apply only small force, then we can distort easily its shape and size. After that, again if we start to increase the stress, then again its strain is increasing. It means that the body is getting strain there, and again continually if we will increase it, then ultimately a point will occur. Then when the body will just break down. Means if we are talking about the wire, then continually if we are applying stress on it, then ultimately we are seeing that its length is continually extending, and a point will occur for certain value of stress when the body will or the wire will break down. So that point is known as breaking point. Here one point up to which the body can maintain its means configuration. Means you can see that even it is distorted, it has plastic nature, but still it is not breaked. Means body has its shape and all, but still it is deformed, but it is not breaked. Up to that point it is known as yielding point. Means up to that limit it can yield its property, but after that if we will apply some of the force, then it cannot retain it. Means it will break out. So means if we want to break any wire by stressing it by application of force, then we have to apply stress beyond its yielding limit. Clear? So this helps us to understand when we can, if we want to just break some of the things, some of the solid things, then how much force you have to apply, you can understand it by easily calculating its yielding point. So here this point C is the plastic limit point. Here this A is, this is the point where this is the elastic limit. So different points that we are getting, and that different points helps us to understand the properties of the solid materials that we are talking about here. So I think the strain stress curve, that is clear, and still its explanation is also very important, how the strain is changing with the stress and where we can use it. So we have just discussed where we can use it here. So depending on that, we have so many types of materials, like we have some of the brittle materials, that means the material which can be breakable easily. So one more types of materials that is important here, that is elastomers. So actually elastomers are that material that are doesn't obey the Hooke's law. Means if you will just plot the strain stress graph under even elastic limit, then this graph is something like this we are getting, and even its this yielding points, and this is very high. Like elastomers are just like we have rubber, such types of, and blood tissues. So these types of things that are called elastomers. So in that system it is it doesn't follow Hooke's law, but still they have the properties of elasticity. They are showing some types of different properties. Basically if you have seen the rubber, then that is stretching and it's the gaining its configuration that is different than the wire and other spring, like other cases like springs and other things. So I think that is clear. So here next thing that is important, that is numerical problem based on stress and strain, Young's modulus of elasticity and bulk modulus of elasticity. So 4 factors are here on which numericals can be asked. So let's discuss some of the numericals that are important here. So the numerical problem is that here a structural steel rod has a radius of 10 mm and length of 1 meter. So let's write, first of all we have a steel rod that is that has length that is 1 meter and its radius is given, that is 10 mm. Next thing is that 100 kilonewton force stretches it along its length. So here the force that is given to us, that is F is equal to 100 Newton. Next, here one more thing is given. Here this force stretches along its length. So here we are talking about the change in length. Next thing we have to calculate first the stress. Second things, elongation, it means that is strain. Third, means how much the body is strained. Third, percentage strain on the rod. And it is given that the Young's modulus of elasticity for steel, that is 2 into 10 to the power 11 Newton per meter square. So this is given to us and we have to calculate here what will be the value of stress, what will be the elongation in steel and due to the application of this force, and what is the percent strain that is produced here. So first of all, let's start from the first thing, that we have to calculate stress here. So basically here three numericals we are taking in one question: strain, stress and Young's modulus of elasticity. So as we know that the stress, normal stress that we are applying to just deform its length, and that is given by force per unit area. And if we write force and area, as it is the steel rod has some of the radius, then its cross-sectional area will be obviously that will have circular cross-sectional area. So this you can write it pi r square. Now let's put the values that we have. We have the value of force, that is 100 kilonewton, and if you will write in this form, then we can write it 10 to the power 5. And here the value of pi you can write, if you want to write the value you can also write it, into the value of r, that is 10 mm. So if you will just solve it to and convert it into the meter, then that time it will be equal to 10 power minus 2 meter. So we can just put here its value, that will be 10 power minus 4. And after that you can just solve its value, and that will provide you the value of stress here. So after calculation, the value of stress that is obtained here, 3.18 into 10 to the power 8 Newton per meter square. So this is the value of stress that we got after this calculation. So I think now there is no problem whenever you just have to calculate anything. Suppose here anywhere we have, it is given that we have some of the rod that has rectangular cross section. Then that time if length and breadth is given, then that you can calculate easily what will be its area by using that. And if square cross sectional and that is given, then obviously you can calculate its area by a square if side is given. So some of the things will be given in your question, and cross section you can calculate easily. It can be given in the question. So cross section can be of circular cross section, rectangular cross section, square cross section, whatever it can be. Clear? Second question, things that we have to discuss here, that is what is the elongation on the application of that force here. So elongation means we have to calculate first of all, we can calculate strain, or also you can use directly the formula. We have the Young's modulus that is given by stress, force per unit area upon change in length upon original length. So this change in length is the elongation that is produced in the system. So it means that we have to calculate delta L here. So the value of delta L, that will be F upon A y, here L will be. Now we have all the values already. We can just put it and we can solve it. I'm just going to erase it, guys. Now here we have delta L. Here F by A just we have calculated. Just put this value from here. 3.18 into 10 to the power 8 into. Here the value of L, that is given 1 meter, and value of Y, that is given here, this 2 into 10 to the power 11 Newton per meter square. And now we can solve it easily. This will be equal to 1.59 into if this will things we will just take in the above, then that time you can just find out what will its value. So it will be into 10 to the power minus 3 meter, clear? Or we can write 1.59 mm. So from this calculation, one thing is also clear, friends. Here we are seeing that we are applying 10 to the power 5 Newton force, that is a great force that we are applying on some of the structural steel rod, but still the elongation on the after the application of such type is a huge amount of force, only 1.5 mm here elongation. So we are seeing that really the Young's modulus or elastic behavior or property of elasticity in steel, that is very greater. That's why we use steels to make so many structural things that we are using this time. Basically we are using it while just making cooking wares for us. So third thing, second elongation we have just calculated. Third, that we have to calculate what will be the percentage strain that is produced in the rod. So first of all, let's calculate what will be the strain here. So strain, you know that is given by change in length upon original length. So here change in length is this 1.5 mm, and you can write it in terms of meter also, and this is length, original length, that is 1 meter. So again you can just write it 1.5 mm, that is 1.5 sorry, here actually no of the units will be here. So 1.5 into 10 to the power minus 3, this strain that is produced in the system here. And now if we have to calculate percent strain, then only just multiply here 100 to calculate what will be the percent strain here. So in that case this will be 0.159% here, or simply we can write here it is nearly 0.16%. So this only 0.16% strain that is produced on the application of this force. So this is very small strain that is produced. So in this way, actually that calculation that we have done, it helps us to understand the properties of different kinds of material, and with the help of this we can understand which of the material can bear a lot of force, so that we can use it to construct buildings, to construct bridges, and since where we are using a huge crowd, huge weight, then can it bear that or not? So this type of calculation and numerical helps us to understand that only if we will change this force there continuously, we want to say that up to which limit the strain produced in it, that is very small. So it means that it can bear a lot of force and we can use it to construct some of the strong things. So I think students that we discussed, that is clear. And now you can solve, even we have solved a number of numericals there that are important, but still I just wanted to remind you by solving this. In the same way you can solve number of numericals, because directly all the numericals here that are based on the formula, and if you are just able to detect or you are able to categorize the data that is given, then you will be able to solve it. Only 4 types of numericals are asked from here, that is strain, stress, secondary things Young's modulus, and 4th things bulk modulus. So only 4 things are here that are important for the numericals. So you now just practice that, and in next class we will discuss the important questions regarding to chapter gravitation, and there are a lot of questions that are very important, so that we will discuss there. Okay, so today let's end the class here. Let's discuss the gravitation chapter in next class. Thank you.